Namaste, dear friends. Gratitude to Dr. Hanneman, Shankran sir, Kamlesh Mehta sir, and Kalidas Thanvi sir. A very happy Children's Day to all. When it comes to kids' health, everyone is concerned about it, and we all hope that our kids grow and develop to their full potential. They take on challenges and risk in their life. They be in their best health. So if one kid is not well, one gets worried and anxious about what can be done. We want the best for them. We hope the treatment that is given to them is very gentle, non invasive, and caring. So, when one looks at it, homeopathy is the answer to it. It's a line of treatment where the medicines are simple, sugar pills with no side effects, and above all, kids love them. Homeopathy addresses a wide range of issues from common ailments like cold and cough, digestive problems to behavioral challenges and emotional issues. As a homeopathic physician today, I would like to share an interesting case of a small boy who I saw in 2018. He is a 4-year-old boy accompanied by mother, weighing around 16 to 17 kgs, whitish in color, lean, thin, mouth mostly open, smiling and approachable. He converses, he smiles, sometimes he tells mom to speak, sometimes he gives reply. The main complaint he comes is with recurrent upper respiratory tract infection leading to lower respiratory tract infection with high grade fever. It starts with 2 days of coryza followed by 5 to 6 days of productive cough and fever rising to 103, 104. In last 1.5 2 years, he has fallen sick every 3 to 4 months, getting into antibiotics. It is triggered by change of weather, taking something cold, having something cold things, dust, smoke, and this all leads to coryza, cough, and fever. During fever, the boy becomes very weak, dull, loss of appetite, his body starts paining, there's joint pains with sleepiness, dullness, he feels very cold and he wants to take blanket. His mood is not good, he gets very irritated. This is the case, and the main concern for the mother and the parents to bring the child for homeopathic treatment here is that he had a bad history of this recurrent cold cough. When you look at his past history, what mothers narrated, right from the age of 6 to 7 months, he started with this cold cough. In the last 4 years, he had 3 times pneumonia. And the last year, he was diagnosed having tuberculosis, for which he had to take anti-cox treatment for 6 to 7 months. When he was born, he had undescended testes for which he was being operated. So my dear friends, when you look at the spectrum from where this is coming, it is not simply the cold and cough, but the cold and cough leading to lower respiratory tract infection and recurrent pneumonia and getting so much low immune that he is falling sick again and again. This is the background on which he approaches to homeopath, right? He was even admitted for his complaints for pneumonia. Now the mother concern is that he should not again get antibiotics. That is the idea for which he is approached. By nature, he is very soft, caring. He doesn't get irritated. He mixes with everyone. He is quite an active child. Teacher tells him to be little mischievous. There have been no complaints from school. He shares his things. He gets attached to his friends, toys, and people. But he takes his own time to do so. When you look at his developmental milestone, he has a slight delay in teething, which started around 9 to 10 months. He likes chicken, fish, he likes sandwiches, eggs, fruits, mango, watermelon, pickles, and sour things. He sweats on his back, neck, and sometimes his pillow gets wet in the sleep. He has a restless sleep. Normally he doesn't take his covering and he needs fan. He's a little scared of being alone, dark, and dogs. When you look at his mother's history, which is very, very important because we want to understand from where it is coming, she had a very stressful pregnancy. She was not gaining weight, her appetite was less, accompanied with nausea and vomiting. Doctors were concerned about her progress as she was very much stressful and the weight was not increasing. On asking what was the stress about, it was about her in laws. There were a lot of fights and disagreements, leading to fights every day. This affected her a lot. When you ask about her experience, she says it was intense sense of restriction. For every small thing she had to ask her in-laws. Nothing she could do of her own wish. She would almost cry every day and get very angry, but nothing she could do. She wanted to get out from there. She felt intense sense of suffocation, feeling as if she was in jail, like a pressure, and you cannot be there, and you need to get out as soon as possible. She describes that it was as if you are living in a jail, you're pressed, you're oppressed, and someone has closed you, put pressure on you, and there's no freedom. The desire is to go out, be free, and the experience is of happiness and smile. During the pregnancy, she liked sour things, non-veg, fish. She wanted cold water, but she avoided and had warm water instead. So my friend, this is a case. When you look at homeopathic point of view, when you look at a history, the presenting complaint, as I said, is not just about upper respiratory tract infection, but it's about the baggage, the tendency, which is going into a lower respiratory tract into pneumonia. So let's understand from homeopathic perspective in terms of totality of symptoms what it is. So we have a 4-year-old boy coming with recurrent cold and cough with history of 3 times pneumonia and once suffered from tuberculosis and by and largely right-sided lung getting affected. He also had a history of little skin infection around 4 months old when he was treated with modern medicine. He suffered from undistant testes which was later operated. And he's been sick since his childhood when he was just born, right? So we see a very strong tendency for cold and cough, but not just cold and cough, leading into deeper chest, right? And this comes when you take the history, it is right coming from his fetal stage. The pregnancy has become very important. And when you combine both this aspect, you understand that the mother also suffered from intense oppression, feeling that she was in a jail. She was pressed, oppressed, and she couldn't get out of it. And the intense desire was to go out and be free. When you combine these two aspects, from tendency to catch cold and cough, right, going into pneumonia and tuberculosis, sensitivity to cold, cold becoming aggravates, change of weather aggravates, dust aggravates. And when you correlate with her mother's history where she suffered from loss of appetite, poor weight gain, and feeling of intense stress where she felt she was oppressed, she was restricted, she couldn't do what she wished to do, and the feeling of intense suffocation, and she just wanted to go out and do herself, and that gave her feeling of freedom, happiness, and freeness. When you combine these two aspects, you see a very strong history of tubercular miasm coming up. It was very interesting to see this two correlation coming up, right? So what's important is to understand the pattern. You understand the commonality which is coming in the child and in the mother. And this gives you a strong hint in the formation of totality. Now when you look at the fever totality, there are some peculiarities which come up. The child becomes very sleepy, dull, thirst becomes more, appetite loses, and there's intense body pain and leg pain. This is one totality. And there are generals, right? And generals of his own stature, where he's lean, thin, right? He has open mouth, but on examination it shows adenoids. He feels cold but doesn't take covering. This is the other physical totality which comes up. Mind wise, nature wise, he is a very active child, approachable child. He wants to go out, make friends, he gets easily attached to people, right? He's very hyper in that way, but he has never complained to anybody. And with this underlining, he is little scared. He's scared of being alone. He's scared of being in dark. He's scared of dogs. This is the other totality. So my friends, when you look at these two all different areas, when it comes to the local complaint, when it comes to the generals, when it comes to the mind state, when you look at the mother's pregnancy history, we have to find a common thread which is running through and what is the pattern running through it. That will bring you the totality of symptoms. Interestingly, when you put all these symptoms, desire fruits, non-veg, fish, sour things, profuse perspiration on head, perspiration while being in sleep, on the back, sleepiness, tendency to cold and cough, right? Timidity, bashful. We have a strong symptoms coming of phosphorus, lycopodium, calcarea, sulfur, and so. With this, when you also see the idea about her mother, a feeling of intense oppression, suffocation, restriction, an intense desire to get out and breathe, be free, feeling of going out, you get the idea of a tubercular miasm, which we already saw in that. Now when we combine this in the other way, when we integrate these two different informations, we see a pattern, and we need a remedy which has a tubercular base, right? And the remedy which comes up is of calcarea. Calcarea force is a remedy. When you understand it, it is a tubercular remedy. When you read Materia Medica, you get lean, thin, emaciated kids, difficulty in growing up, slow development, tendency to cold, right? Tubercular, scrofulous diathesis, right? Anemic in nature. So he was given calcarea force 200. Slowly I stepped up to 1 m and then 10 m. It's 6 years now. He's doing good. Since last 2-3 years, he's not under treatment. But what I hear from mom, that he is doing good. So my friend, thank you so much for listening to me. I would do love to hear from you, your response, and what's your learning from this case. Till then, goodbye. Take care.